G'day, how you going? Ianapolis here, your acrylic guru from Australia. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I teach beginners and advanced beginners how to paint some doable paintings. I will just get the size of my canvas on the screen there for you if you want to know what size I'm using, and I will also get some colours running up the screen. Now this one's going to be kind of like the sun setting colours reflecting on the water and the sand, the wet sand out on the ocean area there, but it's not going to be a beach ocean vibe, it's going to be that succulent sunsetting vibe about it. All right, so get on over here and we'll get right into it. So over here I've got my horizon line a bit under halfway of this horizon line, and this line here is me water. I've just got some lines marked for the waves, and this area here is going to be the wet sand. So first I want to condition this area of the sky to get some beautiful blending happening. So to do that, I'm grabbing the craft paint and some retarder. And some people might want to know what the hell is retarder. That stuff I get asked so many times, so I can't be too complacent and expect everyone to know what it is. It slows down the drying time of your acrylic paint. Now that white paint that I had there, that's titanium white, but it's just a cheap poster craft paint, a good quality one though, and it's a lot softer body. And I mix that with the retarder, and that's going to stay wet a whole lot longer on the canvas. And I'll be able to paint colours into this and make it happen. You know how you see the oil artist paint? I do know I'm painting in acrylic, so if you've been watching oil artists show you how to paint and you're painting in acrylic, you need to watch acrylic artists show you how to paint in acrylics, because oils and acrylics do have different behaviours, okay? I learned that the hard way when I started painting. Now I'm just going to stroke that left and right just to get that nice and thin. I don't want a big thick chunks of paint on there. You don't ever want heaps of paint on there, you just want the colour on there. So I'm using the tip of my brush, and that's nice and thin, ready to add some colours. Now I've got some Indian yellow and red gold. Someone asked, what's the stuff in my little bottles? It's still the Atelier paint, okay? But it's just a free flow, so that's a thicker stuff, and this one is a lot flowier. See? That's all it is. And I also want to get some violet, red violet. I've got quinacridone red violet here to be exact. A little bit of that there. And we're going to start at the bottom horizon area of the sky. And I want to grab the putter on a brush, pick up me red gold, and get that on the horizon area. So this is going to come right across the horizon, sort of orange. I want it to come up like this, because it's going to be cupping in. I'll get some pulling in there, beautiful, and some pulling in here. See how that craft paint and retarder that I put on, how it's making this work. If I painted that onto straight canvas, you won't get that vibe happening. So now I want to get this pulled into there like that, pulled in like that. Just simply wipe the brush. Down the bottom, I want to add some of that violet. So what I'm going to do, I want to be a little bit cheeky. I want to just grab this on the edge of my putter on a brush, this violet, because I don't want it too strong. And down the bottom, I want the vibe of this. So I want some of it first cresting into the painting there. Bit on that side, bit on this side. You'll see why I'm putting it in certain ways when I smooth it in. And the horizon line I want a bit darker, so this way I can control where I want it on my sky. Over here, fading there. Let's hope this is going to work. This is the first time I'm painting this painting, so hats off to me if I pull it off. There we go. Where are we? And we're probably little bits there. Now I'm going to simply wipe this brush, get the bottom done. I've got to wipe that brush, get all that off there, and I want to simply just get the bottom. I'll get the bottom up there, there we go. Get this pulled into the sky like that. We'll get it straight. See, I went a little bit crooked. There we go. Come off the painting, pull it in, pull it in, pull it in, get it straight. Now it's up to you to manipulate this how you want it, and then pull it in again. See how easy that is? You can do this. Okay, now back to the palette here. I've got that Indian yellow, so I'm going to load that onto me putter on a brush now and get this colour happening in the sky area. Now I'm not going to put this in the middle. I want this kind of, let's see, fingering into that there a bit, like so. Same over this side. Fingering into that colour there, coming down. Now what I'm going to do here, I want to turn my brush around now because I want to get some of this happening in there as well. Come along here, pick up some more if you have to. Bring it down where you want it. Look at this, I'm stamping it on. This is so easy. Okay, if you want this, put it on a brush, and the ones I use to blend my clouds, message me on Facebook and I'll get them out to you. We might put something out here as well. But see what I'm doing? I'm just controlling where I want these veins of colour. All right, simply wipe the brush over here or even on a rag. I want to get that into the sky now. Look at this. Over here, pulling it into that white. Beautiful. Now the bits down here, I can just sort of pull through. Because this is a darker colour, I'm going to start contaminating my brush. I don't want to bring this colour up here where I don't want it. Now we're going to mix up the blue, but the blue is going to be so light with grey in it, you'll barely see it as blue. Now part of learning how to paint is knowing how to mix your colours, I suppose. So like I said before, oil and acrylic are two different mediums. So if you're painting in acrylic, be sure to learn from acrylic artists on YouTube here. I made the mistake of following not following, but watching tutorials, but they were oil artists. I didn't know, I was using acrylic. Now, that's the colour I want to use for me sky, so I'm going to gradually put the darker colour in that, and I'm going to use me putter on a brush to simply mix that. It's still too grey, and I want to keep pulling in some of that cerulean blue. I just like cerulean blue. See how grey blue it is? And we want to get the sky in now, the actual blue colour. But you don't want, see how thick that is on the palette? It's real thick. You don't ever want to paint your sky that thick on your canvas. You want to just get the colour on there. So this is going to mix with that white that's on there as well. I do got to hurry because it's an extremely hot day here in Perth today. So I've got to stop talking. Get this there. I'm using the tip of the brush. And I want to feed that into that yellow now. And over here, feed it into that yellow there. Beautiful. Now we are getting some kind of a green hue there. That's okay, because in the reference picture, that's kind of happening. And I want to say a big shout out, thank you to David Straight for the use of this reference photo I got from Pixabay there. Okay, now we'll add the white. So picking up this craft paint. Now this part of the craft paint here did not have the retarder in it. I'm just picking that up on the edge of my brush. This white spot here, I want to condense that. Now you can use even your your titanium white out of your tube if you want. I'm condensing this, and now what I'm doing is getting this into the sky where I want this vibe happening, okay? This white glare. Maybe a little bit out there, look at that, see? Where else do I want some of this? I don't know, Now, this is totally different to the reference picture. I'll show you the reference picture. If I try and copy it too much, I'm going to confuse myself and I'll end up going all over the place, and I don't want to do that. And I want a bit of lightness here as well. Now I want to pull it lightly like this, because I want those long lines in that paint. And then that bit I put at the top, I'm simply going to grind that into the blue, because that blue's still a bit loud. And just pull it into that paint, pull it with the tip of this brush. I'm feeling I want a little, watch this, just so you can do this if you really want. See here, I want a little bit, I've got it on the edge of my brush. I want to get a band of it, let's say out here, just like that. Wipe your brush, wipe it on a rag, and pull that as well. There we go, we've got a subtle bit there. Now there you go, that sky was all painted with this putter on a brush, okay? Very easy to do. So here's the reference picture. Now I probably won't put any silhouette in, but I think I might do something because I like the way the shadow is in there. So I love that subject matter. So it doesn't mean I'm going to do the whole subject. When you're looking at a reference picture, these are things you can do to make it your own. So I've simply made the sky my own, and now I want to get the water like this. It's simple but effective. But see, now it's important to get this darker bit way out here happening to make sense for your painting. I want to paint the distant horizon, so I want to get this blue. I'll use about this much of it. I'll get it wet, and I'll use the red violet here, quinacridone red violet to be exact. There we go. So we're getting this colour. Now that's too red. I need to add more blue now. We want that distant horizon. These are look like hills or mountains way, and they're very distant here in this photo. So I want them there to separate the sky from the water. The sky is still wet. What I'm going to do is pretty much get a line. I'll do this half first. Wipe the brush, and I want to, let's see if I can scrumble that into the sky half. And I want to scrumble that. So I want to scrumble the top of that blue colour into that permanent linden sky. Just something like so. It's really digging down to the white. I've got to put more on there. Just so as this, the top half of this mountain edge that I'm doing is not a hard line, because it's way out and it's not in focus, you know, so that's why I'm trying to get this happening, what I'm doing now. So there we go. I've finally got that blended into the bottom of that sky area. And then what I'm going to do is to get me actual mountain now, just so as I can, there we go. This is the mountain. All the way along. I'm going to do this all the way along the horizon line. So well, I can see my little pencil line, it's quite good, it's all there. There we go, just something like that. And like I say, if you're not sure, if you missed the beginning, this is acrylic paint. I'm an acrylic artist and I always teach in acrylic. I've never done oils. I want to try water soluble oils one day. I've got some there ready to use, but I just don't have the time. Okay, there's our horizon line. Now I've got to get that craft white and create an area here to end our watercolours. Everything is still wet, nothing's been dried, so I've got the craft paint and the retarder again, and I'm going to map in the bottom, excuse me, water half of the painting. I'll get that to there because I want this to smear with that blue a bit, because that blue is quite loud, and I want this to smear with it. Look what I do here. Hopefully it's going to work. Yeah, common sense is telling me it's going to work. That's why I'm doing it. And the reason why I do all my paintings first hand on camera is just to show you that you can do it as well. Now there we go. We've got that. Now we want to get the water in there. So I'm going to go back to that cerulean blue. I've just wiped the brush. I want the grey again and the cerulean blue to get the light to mid tone of the water. Then I can add the darker and lighter values in the water as I need it. But we've got that craft paint there ready to make it happen, because this is going to have some definite darker pieces in it. Let's get that fully brush mixed, and I simply want all the way across here painted in this colour. So I want to get it right against the horizon line there like that. Look at that, see? Beautiful, simple and easy. And down to roughly where my water's going to finish, which is about there. Now take a step back, stop and analyse, like I say. Analyse your work. It gives you a time to rejuvenate your thoughts and see where you're going with everything. And I do want to get some darker values in there now. So to simply do that, I'm going to pick up some of the cerulean blue on my brush, on the tip like I do. And let's say here, I want a wave coming here. One there. The darker bits within the wave. And then we're going to have one down the bottom. Putting it on This is coming all the way along here somewhere like that, right? Pick up some more. Got enough room there? Yep. And this bottom's pretty much going all the way along. This is where it's going to be hitting the sand. Okay, and then we've got a couple of waves in here. So there's a few there, but I'm not going to try and copy them exact, otherwise I'll get lost, because I don't have the exact amount of room that they do in the actual photograph. But I do know that one's finishing there, and this one's about there. Okay, wipe the brush, and I want to waterify those darker areas within that water area. You'll see this is pretty much like a blocking in. So we're going to waterify that, get those darker values in there. There we go, waterified there. I'll waterify that one. We've got a dark band there. Beautiful. This one here can go a little bit more, there we go. Wipe that and pull it through. There we go, that was pretty easy. Now this here is looking a bit iffity-affity, so we're going to put light bits like this, of this darker colour, lighter footsteps of it, without here. Wipe my brush and gently get them waterified out there in the distance as well. Okay. Grab some cloth or towel. Where I went beyond that dark bit, I'm just going to wipe that heavy paint off there. We've still got that craft paint there. So I'm just wiping that off. If you've got it down there, just wipe it off like I did there. Because we want to grab the orange colour, because this is the wet sand now. So I've cleaned me putter on a brush, got me red gold again, and I'm going to lace the bottom firstly with that colour. So I want to I'll start at the bottom here, get this onto that white, bring it, I'm using the edge of my putter on a brush just to get to that waterline there. And see, that's why I moved the blue with the paper towel away, moved it away with the paper towel, because I don't want this orange turning a different colour. I want it to be the colour I'm putting on there. I want to be able to change it when I want to change it, not when the painting decides to do a science thing on me and change it and tell me, well, you didn't listen, boy. There we go. That line is a bit straight, but we can manipulate that as we go to detail. Now I'm just getting some darker values of this back in there, because the white does lighten it a bit. Get it in there. Now I'm looking at the reference, the pull lines are this way now on this sand, which is going from the middle of the clock to about 7 or 8 o'clock. Now get some yellow, Indian yellow, pull that away from that skin colour. I haven't washed the brush, maybe I should have, I'll find out. Now the Indian yellow is mainly along here. Let me put a little bit of, oh, I just got all skin with it. Just dabbing a little bit of white in that Indian yellow to make it more opaque. There we go. And these bands, like I said, they're going to go from the middle of the clock to 7 o'clock. There's bits of it radiating out here and some of it here. Okay. I thought I was going to change brushes, but so far I've done the whole lot with this putter on a brush. I'm quite impressed with that brush, what it can do when you know how to do things with it. I need more yellow in there, so I'm just stamping more yellow on there. What I might do is grab a smaller brush, a smaller flat, just so as I can get these the way I want. There we go. Nice and lightly. There's a big blob there I want to get rid of. There we go. Now we've got to grab this colour up here, wiping that brush and getting some of those bands in there. So where did it go? The red violet, and it's pretty much, we'll make a darker colour here with this blue. Just subtly we've got some darker bands of this coming along the sand there. I might do a bit at a time just to see how we go. I'll put one there and get this going there. I'll wipe it. Get that bluey bits coming off here as well. So we'll just kind of, what I'll do is I want to smear them in as I go because they need to be a lot sharper. That's it. When I did it and pushed them with the brush, it kind of made them not the way I want. There we go. That's better. So these ones should have been done like that. Well, I learnt something there as well, didn't I? There is a little bit of red violet hue out there as well, so I'm grabbing some of that just with the white, just to get some of that action going as well. Where are we? Here we go. So right against the bottom of the wave there, and this is going to pull out as well, because I need some white under this later. So there, where this meets the water, because there's going to be some white there, and just slight bits of this pulling. I'm grabbing the grey mixed with the blue, just a little bit of blue because I want it white, but I still want that bluey vibe. And this is going to sit right against that wave there. And this is going to be the glistening of the wet sand. But I'm going to go just along here just to see. I think I might have to start drying this now. So I've dried it and I'm simply coming underneath the water here and making a wet pull against the sand here. This is going to distort. Remember I said that line's a bit straight and we've got to distort it? That's what I'm doing now. Some of this can vein into there. This is pretty much wet sand. Very wet, right next to the water. Pretty much all the way along the water's edge here. Some of it's thick, some of it's thin. These little things are what bring your paintings together. Trying to rush them and leaving them out sort of makes you realise something's missing from your painting. And when you realise something's missing from your painting, 9 times out of 10, it was patience. Now where this dark colour is going to come across the corner, it's going to be met by this slight blur of this bluey colour as well going in there. So I'm putting that there now before I put the darker colour in this corner. So now I'm going to grab the yellow and put the yellow back in there. So there's our light source. We want it about here in the sand. So we're going to come now and let's see if this is going to sit on top. Yeah. I'm just going to stroke it in that way. Now if I cover anything up, that's okay. I can just simply come back. I might have to put some of the darker colour back, the blue, but we'll just see how it's looking. Getting this yellow across here. Just mixing with that yellow. I maybe should have dried it, but we'll get by, we'll get by. Get this there again. When we put the darker colour on it, it'll make this colour sit out more, and it'll just look like the wet sand right at the crest of the wave, hitting this where it's touching the sand. So I've got my cerulean blue, and I want to get a darker value of some of this. So I've just got some black in there. And in these waves where we got the dark bit, we need to bring this right against. What I'm doing is coming from the top, going to 9 o'clock, back down to 6 o'clock. I'm making a crest there, because at the top of that there's going to be slight scallops, but it's sort of tight there. And this, I don't want this to be a straight line, so we can bring it around, scallop that out into the lighter colour, little scallops out there. That bottom line, just change it up a bit, don't have it all one straight line. And this is the dark colour of the wave just woofing down onto the sand there. I'm going to get the bottom very dark, and then kind of let it fade up lighter as we get to the top half of that blue. There we go. I'm just using a flat brush here. If a flat brush is going to work for you, use that. If it's not, find out what's going to work for you, because everyone's different. I might use a certain brush for something, but it might not work for you because you have different ways of holding things. You might be left-handed, you might be near-sighted, far-sighted, anything could be happening. And then the one behind it, just so you get a gist of how it's going to look, the one behind it is, there we go, the top of it's going to be quite, no, I don't want it too dark, I'll take some of that off. The top of it's going to be white, so this is sort of filtering in the middle of that dark stuff, leaving that lighter dark blue there. This is the darker blue. Getting some of this, look at your reference a bit, just find out the chemistry of the wave, see what's making it work, the light, because it's getting the lights and the darks all in the one spot. That's what makes it work. It's a little bit heavy there. And when we put the brighter bits over this, it will start coming to sense. But these are just subtle little waves. I loved it. That's what I loved about this painting, or this photo that I saw. Keep them level. See this blue that I'm going over? Don't cover all that up. That's the mid value. Some of this can dribble out to there, just a little bit. So I just stood back, analysed it, and get a visual to see where I need to go. Now there are slight bits of this out there. Oh, out there, that's too much, Ian. See if I can hide that later on. This one, we're coming at the middle, the top of it. We want to break it down into this lighter colour. Look at me, I'm barely touching it, breaking it down so it's smooth, fading into there. You can do this. And now we're going to bring this into some of this darkness. Right against that bright bit I put there earlier. So it's sort of coming around. In the distance there where we put these colours, you want the slightest there as well, just the slightest, making up some movement, shadows in our water there. Now that colour that I had, I'm simply grabbing that in the brush, pulling it over here to some white, and I want to get the white value, but it's going to be tainted with that colour. I don't need that much, but my goodness. Because on here, I'm going to wipe the bulk of that off. On here, we need to create now from in here. Where are we? I took too much off the brush. We want to get some of this just sway it. Control what's on your brush. Behind that stuff, you're just swaying little ribbons of swirly lines there. Just like so. Nice swirly, we'll call it swirly ribbons. You might have another name for it, but that's what comes to my mind. Now pull more white into your mix as you're going into the lighter colours there, so it'll stand out like this. Now that was a bit heavy, remember I said before, so I'll just simply lighten that. Light swirly ribbons. So this looks like it's white, but it's not, it's tainted. Always taint your white so at the end of the painting, if you really need to add some pure white, you've got that window of opportunity to do so. Just along here you'll see. Is this brighter? If it's not bright enough, you just got to make it brighter. So all the way out here now, I've got the lighter colour, finding the right brush, and I want, there's my sun there, so I pretty much want some glistening on top of the water here as well. Coming into the rest of these lines here. Break them up, really scatter them up a bit, try not to get uniform lines everywhere like I'm sort of getting there. As you come forward, you can probably come a little bit thicker, not too much though. The smaller you go, the more realistic your brush strokes would look. And all this through here is radiating with lighter, brighter water glistening on top of the light glistening on top of the water. I was going to say water glistening on top of the water, but I'm just going to come along here and put a bit of light on the top of this slight wave crest, and some fanning out from behind it as well. Oh, look how small they are, they look nice. I've just been looking at it, I've got some yellow and white just before I put the bottom half in. I still want to get this a little bit more yellowy, so I'm going to get the brush on that angle and just scratch in, try and blend, scratch some of this colour in there. There we go. So it's pretty much this blue and the black we mix, but even darker black. You can even use Payne's grey if you got it. Now that line we put there, we got to merge this right into it. So my tape's there, so this is pretty much going to be right at the bottom of the painting. There we go. I just put some red gold there and putting some more of the Indian yellow over it, because that blue mark there, I was looking at it and it just wasn't right. So I'm just getting rid of that. It's too overkill. I just thought about it, and this is too small, so I'm going to bring it into the painting a little bit more, just so as it can be seen, because by the time I pull the tape off, someone's just not going to know what that is, and it's part of the makeup of this picture, which needs to be there. So I want to get it in with this black, with the blue mixed with it, just get this coming across the bottom there, and I'll simply radiate a lighter colour on the edge of this as well, just so this will look more natural. Picking up the brighter, lighter blue colour and getting it right across the edge there, let it bleed into it. Bang. Bang. And you want it just a little bit brighter again. It's pretty much the blue and white smeared out there, smearing into that colour. There we go. I'll just sign this and we'll whack a frame on it. And I want to thank all my YouTube members and patrons who have joined and support me every month. Very much appreciated. Hit the links below, check out what I got. Hit the join button if you want to be a member of my YouTube channel, and the Patreon link below also. Okay, whack a frame on there. There you go, that's not too shabby, is it? We've got the sun setting over the water and the wet sand. And I know you can do it. Well, what a lot of fun that was. Beautiful, bright and colourful. Be sure to check out this next video of mine, and if you like what I'm doing, you tell your friends, but if you don't, you tell everybody. Goodbye, good luck, and good on ya.